the bells. Well, good morning, everyone. I am Reverend Karen LeBlanc. I minister to this congregation as we minister to each other. We are a beloved community of people who believe that everyone is worthy of respect, science is real, the democratic process is a sacred thing, that we are all part of an interconnected web, and that the light and energy that we share and put out makes a difference in this world. We are people of purpose, and love is the doctrine of this church. So if what you hear today resonates with you, we hope you'll consider becoming part of this way cool community of seekers and keepers of this long dream that is our church. Thanks, Rick. Oh, he brought his dog with him this morning to ring the bell. All right, thanks, Bowser. First Unitarian Church recognizes that the land we inhabit and enjoy sits on the unceded ancestral land of the Wampanoag, the people of the first light. We actively commit ourselves to the process of working to dismantle the legacy of colonialism and oppression of our country's native peoples and of all who have been marginalized. Now today we've got a jam-packed service today. So of course we're celebrating Women's History Month, so we have our speaker today, Kristin Batstone, who is the director of the Women's Center, and she will be speaking to us later, where there was a ladies' Lenten tea going on afterwards, so they have all their tables decorated. Please don't use them. Use the ones that are not decorated in the kitchen area. We've got tons of stuff left over from last night. Let's see. If you're new here and want some more information, sign this blue card. That will put you on our email list.
Hi, little Richard. So good to see you today.
Nice to see that baby back here. We are live streaming today, as usual. Good morning to our live streamers on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you want to make sure you never miss a service here. What else? Let's see. Oh, we still need volunteers for our jazz service coming up June 30th this year. So if you have some time to give, please let us know in the office. And if you will now put your phones or whatever electronic devices you happen to be wielding this morning into worship mode. We will begin by lighting our chalice. I don't see the kids here yet, yeah. So we're lighting our chalice this morning for the Hindu Festival of Holi, which is also called the Festival of Colors. So these are some traditional greetings for this day. Burn all negativity and bring in the positivity in life. Let the colors of Holi spread happiness, joy, peace, and love all around. I wish with all my colors that it brings more colors into your life. Isn't that nice? I wish with all my colors. How lovely. Now, our opening words this morning are from Shirley Chisholm, who was the first black woman to be elected to the U.S. Congress in 1968. She served 7 terms from 1969 to 1983, and in 1972 she became the first black candidate for a major party nomination to the United States presidency. She was known for taking a resolute stand against economic, social, and political injustices, as well as being a strong advocate for black civil rights and women's civil rights. And the opening words are just one line she is very famous for. If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And after that whole folding chair incident with the boat, that gives it a whole new meaning now. So also in honor of Holi, let us sing our first hymn, number 305, De Colores, the colors.
colors we see in the springtime with all of the flowers. All the colors when the sun shines out through in the cloud and it showers. All the colors as a rainbow appears when a storm cloud is touched by the sun. All the colors are bound for the world and around and for everyone under the sun. All the colors, yes, the colors of people parading on by with their banners. All the colors, yes, the colors of pennants and streamers and plumes and bandanas. All the colors, yes, the colors of people now taking their place in the sun. All the colors are bound for the world and around and for everyone under the sun. All the colors, yes, the black and the white and the red and the brown and the yellow. All the colors of people who smile and shake hands and say hello. All the colors, yes, the colors of people who know that their freedom is won. All the colors are bound for the world and around and for everyone under the sun.
Well, please take the time to greet one another right now. Annika, come up here. Come on up all the way. Hold on one second, because I already said it, but I'm going to have you say them for me, too. First, we're going to read our covenant together. Okay. Now, if you go back to your seating areas, don't sit down. We're going to read our covenant together, which is printed in your order of service. You want to read this with me? Okay. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. Now this young lady, go ahead and sit down. This young lady was going to do the opening words for us this morning because it is Women's History Month and it's so important to teach our young ladies about women's history. So go ahead and say that line from Shirley Chisholm.
So today's opening words are going to be, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair.
Yes. Thank you. Good job. Pass it on. Pass it on. Okay, now we have an incredible story of Purim from Yasmin Flefle Vincent, our RE director.
Good morning, everyone. I have Mari and Morning here to help today with our little bit of an interactive story. If you don't remember, before I worked here, I was lucky to work at the synagogue right near Buttonwood Park. Rabbi Cantor and Cindy Benson invited me into their home. I learned a lot of things from them, and one of them was the story Queen of Esther. So I'm going to do my best to recall it and tell it from my heart. So the Queen of Esther really is here to save the day, and you should know that you will find some common themes throughout this story. So here it goes. This story takes place in Persia. Does anyone know now what country Persia actually is? Yes, Iran. So there was this king. We call him King Ahasuerus. And he had this lovely queen at one time. Her name was Queen Vashti. And he's like, hey, Queen Vashti, you are so beautiful. You got to come up and show off yourself and let everyone see my beautiful wife. And Vashti's like, yo, I don't think so. So, of course, the king says, see ya. Let me get something better who's going to follow my words. And so all the women in the land come and see, will he choose me? Will he choose me? Well, sure enough, he chooses someone who happens to be Esther. Now, Esther has a cousin, Mordecai. And Mordecai says, hey, Esther, just, mum's the word on the Jewish part. Don't let him know you're a Jew. And so, okay, fine. Mordecai's like, Esther, just be your best self. So now life goes on, and then all of a sudden there's this man named Haman. And Haman's name in the synagogue is to be drowned out because he is the bad man who wanted to persecute Jews. Now, some things go on. Mordecai gets wind that Haman wants to be cruel and unusual. And so he says, you know what? I'm going to do a little hunger strike. I'm going to get my people to go along and let the king know that this Haman man is doing wrong. So that happens. And then next thing you know, Queen Esther says, I think we should probably have a good, nice party. And the king's like, you know what? Not a bad idea. We love to party. So Queen Esther says, let's do this. And that is how the story begins. They're partying. Now, this story requires you in the Megillah to do a lot of drinking. I don't condone that, but is what is said. Because the line is, cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordecai. And apparently, the more you get tipsy, those two become interchangeable and you're in La La Land. I don't know the reference to that, but apparently the rabbis argue that element of the story. So now, here we are. Queen Esther finds out that Haman wants to kill the Jewish people. She doesn't know what to do because in those days, you just don't go up to the king who happens to be your husband and be like, I'm concerned about the anti-Semitic movement and, I have some real issues here. That didn't happen. So she had to be brave and fight for her people. So at the party, she says, by the way, Haman wants to kill all the Jewish people. And King Ahasuerus is like, okay, fine, let's get rid of Haman and let's make Mordecai the advisor to the palace and be done with Haman. And that is exactly what happened. They celebrated. They got rid of Haman. Mordecai and the Jewish people end up persevering. So how is this related to our Unitarian Universalist values? Well, political maneuvering, personal activism, communal bravery against anti-Semitic plot, and the victory of Jews. God's presence is beneath all of this, showing that acts of bravery are ultimately what brings us together. Because standing up for one means standing up for others. So let's transform and be the people that stand up for each other. And so here we are celebrating all these wonderful holidays, Women's Day, the Book of Esther. We relate this to Halloween. They dress up, they celebrate, the children have shalach manot, they bring little baskets around with food and goodies. There's a lot of interconnectedness here with this holiday. So Purim is a beautiful holiday. Queen Esther saves the day, and power to the women.
right, kids, you gonna go to Sunday school? Oh boy, here comes another cute kid. Be kind and true in all we do. All right, then. Now is the time in our service where we share with each other our joys, our sorrows, our concerns. I see Steve running up here. Slow down, Steve. No running in the halls.
So my joy is that we have sent out a letter, and I'm hoping you're all waiting for it with anticipation. Excuse me, my wife tells me I have to get closer to the mic. We've sent out a letter from the Financial Committee, and it's the pledge letter for 2024-2025 year. And we're hoping you'll send it back right away so that, well, you don't necessarily have to send it with a check, Karen, but just so that Deb, the treasurer, can make up her budget on a more real basis. I live with Deb, and she spends so much time in the office working on these things, and it's nice when she has data to back them up. She's a big proponent of data. Thank you very much. The other thing is, my daffodils are coming up. Yay.
Hi, Charlie Morgan, and I have a candle of concern today. It's for my sister-in-law, Maureen Morgan. She goes in tomorrow for cancer surgery, and this is the 4th time her life has been affected by cancer.
I light a candle today out for Steve Mello, who was always at every protest. He was always at every Friday night, too, at Collins. And he was such a good guy, and he passed away Friday. And it really broke my heart because when Sophia had cancer, he went out his way to help us. He'd bring us out to breakfast at the diner down in Wareham, and he'd make her eat, and she'd eat the whole thing, which didn't happen during her chemo. I know, it was really hard, and Steve was always so good-natured, and he'd always talk about Molly, and so I guess the candle's also for Molly, and for all of the amazing posters. He would come to every domestic violence vigil that we had at this church, which was over 20. He would come to protest wars that I've already forgotten about because we got so many new wars going on. But he had the best protest signs that I threw it together today, and we're like, whoa, so I will miss him dearly.
I'm lighting a candle today for my mom because today's her 80th birthday.
I just wanted to say something that is just very important to me. I went through 2 marriages that were both disasters, and we got out of that, and I thought I would never have another relationship at all until I met my husband. And I gotta say, he is one of the best. I mean, I won't go so far as saying he is the best because, there may be someone out there that's better, but I'll tell you, it would be very hard to find. And I am just so grateful for him.
Lighting a couple of candles. One, a big candle of joy. We had a lovely new members dinner here last night. We had over 20, I think it was 25 people here, and we had a beautiful celebration and just got to know each other. Thank you so much to Deb Carmel for making that all happen for us. That was just terrific. I'm still a little so excited from how wonderful it was last night. And I lit a candle of concern for my stepdad, Charlie, who just had back surgery, and for my brother, who is going to have heart surgery. We're not sure what kind yet, but we're praying for them. And I'm going to light 2 candles, as is our practice here, one for all the joys and sorrows we keep in our hearts today, and one for all those out there who do not have a safe and loving and supportive environment like this to share their joys and concerns in. Our responsive reading this morning is number 573 in your hymnal, 573. This is from Julia Ward Howe. She wrote the Battle Hymn of the Republic. And this is the Mother's Day proclamation. I know it's not Mother's Day yet, but I think it's real fitting to read for Women's History Month. Arise then, women of this day. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and justice. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of counsel. Let them then solemnly take counsel with each other as the means whereby the great human family can live in peace. Not of Caesar, but of God. Thank you, Julia Ward Howe. Let us enter now into the spirit of prayer and meditation. This is a prayer I wrote many years ago. Springtime prayer to Persephone. Persephone, bringer of springtime, brightener of seasons, gatherer of hope, breathe life into the earth. Send your breezes into dusty corners to clean them. Send your warm rays to soften the fertile ground. Send your gentle rain to feed new green shoots. Look with love upon my garden and my labors. Bless my hands as they turn the soil and plant the seeds. Bless my knees as they creak and groan. Bless my back as I rake and bag what's left of the winter and haul it to the curb. Goddess of the awakening world, grant me the strength to do the work that is required for growth and renewal. Amen, and so may it be. Our second reading will be read by Tony Ann Wong. Do you want to come up here, Tony Ann?
All right, the second reading is the poem We Rise by Amanda Gorman. Today, everyone's eyes are on us as we rise. Today is the day women are paving the way, speaking our truth to power. In this hour, it is our duty to find the brave beauty in rooting for other women so they too know we are not victims. We are victors, the great predictors of progress. We press for change, a new dawn drawn into the open by women whose silence is broken. We push on and act on our responsibility to bring visibility to the most vulnerable, to bring freedom to those who didn't have a choice, to bring volume to those who are using their voice. We clear a woman's way. We don't fear the day she steps into the light because we are with her every step of the fight. There's a lot at stake, but making a great difference always takes great courage. So we encourage women who dare to stare fear square in its face. Women who've always shown that when one woman stands up, she is never alone. We know that when she steps up to right or wrong, she will fight to bring others along through the network, into the conversation, working together to change communities and nations for generations. Our world made all the stronger the longer women are able to sit at the table. It is her strength, her story, and her spirit which inspire other vital choices. To speak up when they hear it. So let it be said that when light is shed, when our world is led by leaders ahead of the headlines, the voices who are the first on the front line, these women who stand up knowing the wind, not by where it is, but where it is blowing. Leading worlds by not how society is, but where change is going. We all leap forward when one woman tries. When she defies with her rallying cries, here lies, but it does not rest, the best of tested women who call us all to rise, speaking the truth in this finest hour, that to their own power, every single woman is entitled. It is not how they empower others. It is how they empower others that makes women's voices so vital. And now you may all rise as you are willing and able for hymn number 212, We Are Dancing Sarah's Circle. Dancing Sarah's circle, we are dancing Sarah's circle, we are dancing Sarah's circle, sisters, brothers, all. Here we seek and find our history, here we seek and find our history. Here we seek and find our history. Sisters, brothers, all. We will all do our own naming. We will all do our own naming. We will all do our own naming. Sisters, brothers, all. Every round a generation, every round a generation, every round a generation, sisters, brothers, all. On and on the circles moving, on and on the circles moving, on and sisters, brothers, all.
Now is the time in our service where we ask you for your kind donations toward the many, many good works of this fine church. And we thank you for your generosity, of course. First, Randy, let me thank you for introducing us to these female awesome composers. I think I love Amy Beach. She's terrific. All right, more of that, please. Okay, so we have a guest speaker this morning. Kristin Batstone is the executive director of the Women's Center in New Bedford, where she has served for the past year. She received her MBA from the University of Massachusetts, Boston, with a focus on nonprofit management, and she is a certified birthing doula. Kristin raised her 4 children in New Bedford, where she lives with them and her 100-pound German Shepherd. Wow! Welcome, Kristin. Come on up and tell us your story.
Good morning. Thank you, Reverend Karen, and all of you for welcoming me today. As we gather during Women's History Month, I invite you to join me in reflecting on the impact of the Women's Center on our community over the past 50 years. And it's amazing to think it all started here in this church with your members who had a vision of making a real difference in the lives of survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. The Women's Center was born here, a testament to the power of love, compassion, and collective action. I don't know if any one of these folks are here today, but raise your hand if you are, because the vision of Maggie Pierce, Lee Blake, Lynn Whitney, Trudy Santos Clark, and Cora Pierce has succeeded beyond measure, being carried on by those here today, including Judith Martinez and David Godinez. Since our inception, we've grown and evolved, expanding our services to meet the changing needs of survivors and families all throughout the South Coast. So today, the Women's Center is not just a place, but it's a lifeline. It's where women, men, and children who have been through the unimaginable find safety, hope, and empowerment. From individual counseling, bilingual counseling, thank you, Judith, to in-court support and bilingual in-court support, thank you, David. From emergency shelter to trauma therapy for youth, our services provide a refuge to a path for a brighter future. But as practical as our services are, even more important is the spirit of hope and resilience that permeates the walls of our counseling rooms and our shelters. We aim to be a place where survivors are not just seen and heard, but valued and empowered. A place where they can find the strength to reclaim their lives and rewrite their stories. So I'd like to share a story with you about a young woman. We'll call her Emily. For years, Emily endured unimaginable pain behind closed doors, feeling alone and powerless. She found herself trapped in a cycle of abuse, her spirit crushed and her voice silenced. Through our outreach work, she made her way to the Women's Center. There, she was greeted with open arms and compassionate hearts. She found the courage to speak her truth, to confront her trauma, and to begin her journey of healing. On that first day, Emily moved with a small backpack of belongings into our emergency shelter. That night, she had a safe place to sleep for the first time in a long while. The next day, she worked with our court advocate team, who showed her the legal tools that were available to her to protect herself. Over the days and weeks that followed, she met regularly with her case manager, who helped her to get her basic needs met, like food, medical care, and exploring options for independent housing. Emily's work with her counseling advocate helped her to identify the cycle of power and control that had trapped her with her abusive partner, and she began to rebuild that sense of self that had been taken from her. So she's currently finding solace in group sessions with other survivors who've become her allies and friends, and her next goal is to move out of shelter into one of the Women's Center's apartments, where she can live for a year or so before transitioning into full independent living. So Emily stands before us as a testament of the human spirit. She's proof that with the right support and resources, survivors can not only survive, but thrive. In Massachusetts, 1 in 3 women will experience domestic violence, which means many of us have an Emily in our lives. For some, we can connect ourselves to a piece of Emily's story. We may have more privilege or access to resources, but the violence of abuse is not limited by socioeconomic status. What we know is that the work of healing always begins with survivors and must continue to be survivor-led. And that's why you'll find many of us at the Women's Center are survivors too. Our work is funded by the Department of Public Health, thanks to much work by my predecessor, by federal contracts, and by generous donors that make all of this possible. The need is great. At this moment in 2024, 2 state and national crises are shaping the demand for our services. We're all familiar with the housing crisis, and the impact on our emergency shelters is that they're almost always full. We're all familiar with the impact of the youth mental health crisis our nation is facing right now, and that impact on kids who have complex trauma is even greater. That means that kids are having to wait 30 to 60 days to see a therapist. So our focus now is on raising more support to increase our capacity in shelter and in youth trauma therapy. But the impact of our work isn't just measured in numbers. It's measured by lives changed, hope restored, and futures rewritten. We see it firsthand in the faces of those who walk through our doors broken and afraid, only to emerge more confident and determined than they were before. So thank you for this opportunity to reflect on the legacy and the current mission on behalf of all 50 employees of the Women's Center. I invite you to stand in solidarity with survivors like Emily, and may we all continue to be guided by the values of love. I meant stand metaphorically, but we can stand physically too. Thank you. May we all, I invite you to stand in solidarity with Emily and survivors like her, and may we continue to be guided by the values of love and justice and compassion as we strive to create a future where all individuals can access safety, hope, and empowerment.
Thank you so much, Kristin. We appreciate that, and we appreciate the work that you do and that your organization does. And boy, I hope we can continue. We haven't had it in a few years, our domestic violence vigil that used to happen here for, I don't know, 2 decades, maybe more. Let's get that going again next year. I want to see this room filled with people that support each other for this purpose. It's so important. So thank you so much. Now, our closing hymn. Please rise as you are willing and able and sing with us. Number 327, Joy Thou Goddess, 327.
Mad with rapture to the portal of thy holy fane we come. Fashion's laws indeed may sever, but in magic joins again. Humankind is one forever, 'neath thy mild and gentle reign. Joy in nature's wild dominion, mightiest cause of all is found, and 'tis joy that moves the pinion when the wheel of time goes round. From the bud she lures the flower, suns amount their hopes of light. And the spheres obey her power, far beyond all mortal sight.
Thank you so much. Please be seated. David's going to come up and give our closing words.
At the wake of the old way, Jan Phillips. We are attendants at the wake of the old way, and each of us, through our actions, our thoughts, our work and relationships, is midwifing a new world into existence. And when we come to our days with this awareness, when we fully wake up to this tremendous privilege, when we sense the oak and the acorn of our beings, then we will have the energy to move mountains and shift the tides. With this as our charge, may we travel into our world renewed. Amen.
Come on, please join us for coffee hour after the service. Hold fast, my dear friends. We love you. Stay strong, live long and prosper. Go in peace. Have a great weekend. Bye.